Hello, friends. Nicholas here. I'm here with my good friend Bridge. Sorry, I took your
Hello.
thunder.
It's all good. You can steal it. Thunder is yours. No worries at all. Nick has been through a lot, so
Yeah.
we're gonna go
So
chill.
right, yeah. Some of you may have seen Bridge's story, but some of you who are regular listeners will not know. We were going to record yesterday at 2 o'clock Eastern time, and unbeknownst to me, I was going to have an incident, and it was rough. But I am relatively unscathed considering I got T-boned in an intersection driving to the studio yesterday. Wasn't my fault. It was an older lady. And when I say older, I mean actually older. She was 90, which is crazy. Still driving at 90. Um, but after interacting with her and knowing what I know about Ayurveda, people have questioned me. I was like, I feel like she had a UTI. And people are like, how would you know if she had a UTI? And I was like, well, she's 90, living on her own still, and still driving. She probably has most of her competencies. She seemed a little out of it. She could also be on medication, but it just seemed intuitively from my Ayurveda knowledge. It's a woman in the Vata stage of her life. She's looking very Vata, had a very Vata moment. She just flew into an intersection and collided with me. My vehicle went on two wheels, but I did not hit anybody else, and I landed on all four. So it was quite a surreal experience, and I wasn't exactly sure what happened. I knew what it felt like, but a woman with the dash cam came up and helped with me and called the cops and like helped with all the emergency stuff. She was a social worker. She was like, "This is kind of my thing," and I was like, "Great," because I don't really have many faculties right now. And so it's all getting handled right now. But, it's that reminder that everything in your life can change in an instant, and you don't know whether this instant or the next one is going to be the life-changing one or if things are going to work out a different way. So yesterday I didn't hurt anybody else and I didn't get hurt really bad other than a little bit of soreness. So, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah. Sorry, everybody, if you can hear my dishwasher in the background. It seems to be growling at the moment. But yeah, no, if you see the video, I maybe I'll should I share the video? I mean, that's up to you because it's your video. But like,
Yeah, you can absolutely share the video.
yeah, the video is gnarly because if you see the video of the dash cam, you can see you're just like going through the intersection. It's clearly green light where you have, and then this car just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it just seems like a really chill day. Looks like the afternoon time. It's everything's quiet, and then boom, and then Nick's car goes on two wheels like he said, and it just like I don't know, I think you pulled like some sort of like driver maneuver, some genius wizardry driving maneuver to bring it because it looked like it was gonna flip. I think it could have easily flipped if you because you said you pulled like the wheel a certain way.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sucks
was thinking about it
sucks.
because it went sideways. The
Yeah.
side airbags deployed, which is great because I do remember hitting the airbag. My head would have hit a window had it not.
Ooh.
But if I think if the front airbags had deployed, but I didn't have a front end collision, so they didn't. But if my hands had been taken from the wheel, I'm 90% sure I would have flipped and rolled and hit all the other cars, and maybe even I might have even slid into this work zone where they were doing construction. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, I just don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so
So one of the
scary.
things we can talk about too, we do have questions from listeners, so
Hmm.
we will get to those. But I knew yesterday that it was a wash. Like I had so much adrenaline dump into my body that people were asking, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm in shock. I don't know what's going on right now." And it's a protective mechanism, right?
Hmm.
It's a body's protective mechanism. One, so you can go into fight or flight, or in some cases you're numbed out if you become prey. Like that's another thing that can happen. Your body's like, oh, okay, well. um
Yeah.
and so I wasn't really feeling these things. So when I woke up this morning, I could feel the places where my body was jostled around crazily by the G forces in the vehicle. And but adrenaline dumps in an acute thing are very different than adrenaline slash high cortisol levels on a chronic level. And so a lot of people are walking around chronically in a cortisol dump, or mild dump, and that causes, adrenal fatigue, but it also causes things like different use of insulin. Your body uptakes it in a different way when you have high cortisol levels. And so, some people, especially diabetics, but other people as well, they'll get that characteristic spare tire around the midsection if they have high cortisol levels or they're not uptaking sugars in the right way. Do you want to talk about Ayurvedic perspectives on what happened? Like our bodies are designed to drop adrenaline and cortisol in acute moments so that people are able to react like I did to prevent the vehicle from causing more damage. But a lot of people live in a chronic state of adrenaline and cortisol. And so if you want to talk about that, because that really relates to inflammation, which was one of your questions that you asked for people to send questions in about.
Yeah, I feel like moms live in a chronic state. Adrenaline and cortisol. Um, yeah, like I was telling Nick yesterday because we were talking on the phone and like he had just gotten home. It had been like a couple hours since then, and you were still like full of adrenaline and cortisol already. So you were still there, but not. It was reducing at that point. It seemed. I don't know if you ended up doing it, but I suggested an adrenal compress.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't have time.
it's
I
fine.
couldn't function and I couldn't function
It's a
enough
lot.
to make something.
It's okay. It's okay. I totally get it. But it's kind
And
of amazing, like what happens with the body when, like, yes, of course, a lot of it is like primal for sure. But I just see it just being, because I've been in car accidents as well, and we've all been there, like when we've had like some adrenaline, just cortisol absolute release. Um, and it's kind of amazing what happens to the body. Like the body is just, it's just another realization how the body is just so intelligent. Um, I just see it and I feel it as just massive, like nervous system takeover. Like, digestion is not working during that time. It is no longer, you are in fight or flight. It is no longer parasympathetic. It is full on sympathetic. And it's like after everything has cooled down from the event that you need time to regulate. And sometimes people, like you said, they have that chronic state of being dysregulated. Um, they need that time to regulate, and you have to find that time to regulate. And I can hear in my head right now, what if you don't have the time? What if you don't have the space or whatever? Um, I think you just have to make the time. I don't know another way to put it. And I'm not trying to be like a stickler or anything like that, but it's just I feel like you have to set your priority straight after everything is handled. Set that priority straight of like, okay, I have to like tend to myself right now because I was in a massive state of sympathetic overload. So um like I was explaining to Nick when I worked in a hospital, we worked with a lot of brain injury people. And so with the patients who had brain injuries, sometimes like they look good, like sometimes they do, and then they're walking, they're talking, they're fine. But then at a moment's notice, they drop, and that happened to me. I just have like this one scenario coming to mind, and then you have to call a code. You have to call a code, and it's the rapid response team comes, and they're doing what they have to do to revive the patient.
yeah.
Um,
So for
yeah,
those who don't know what a code is, it's when somebody's heart stops or they're not, functional anymore.
yeah.
Usually the heart has stopped. Code blue is code blue, right?
It depends on the hospital. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
usually code blue when it comes to like when they're not breathing. That's more of like a respiratory thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's code red. There's code strong. Like if like especially with a and this is just from the hospital I used to work at. If there's a patient who's being like really combative. Um, but yeah, so there's this one time I remember I was just walking in the hall with one of my patients, and they were being discharged in a couple of days. They were good to go, right? Like they were walking, they were talking, they're fine. Eating everything, they were good to be sent home. Boom, He dropped, they had to push back his discharge because there's something going on physiologically with his body that caused him to drop.
Mhm.
Um, but it was just me and him. And so boom, oh my God. When they drop, it's like everything's fine. And then it's not all of a sudden. And then I think that switch is like so extreme. You know, just like you with your car accident, it's just like so extreme. And you're like, holy crap. And then you have to act. You have no other choice. You just have to act. And so I called the rapid response team. They came and they come like within like seconds. Um, and yeah, and then after that code, I remember like just feeling just like extreme cortisol release, and so I
Mhm.
ended up doing an adrenal compress after that, but which was very, very helpful. Uh, but yeah, like it just takes a minute. Like you do have to like calm down enough to do those things, you know? Like I
Mhm.
think there's like a period just from personal experience. This is not like it's written in Ayurveda, right? Like
Yeah.
I think there's a period in between like the massive shift of energy and then to just in between like calming down versus and that
Mhm.
experience.
I think
And
it's called
then like you can,
refractory period.
yeah, probably. I mean, I'm forgetting a lot of my 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 knowledge
You're
at the
you're
moment.
in mom
Just
fog.
drawing from personal experience. I'm in mom, but I'm also just drawing from my personal experience. But yeah, that
Yeah.
refractory period where you are in that space and then you can
Mhm. Well, and another
move
thing is
your body.
physiologically, this happens so that
Hmm.
we can react. It bridges the gap from what you're lacking to what you need, and the body's like, zoom, everything turns on immediately, and that's the response. But that's also why people who are in a chronic state of cortisol
Right.
or sympathetic stimulation feel worn down and drained, slash their body's not recovering, is because it's in a completely turned on state or trying to be in a completely turned on state longer than it's meant to be. It's meant to bridge the gap for that moment. Like when people talk about having superhuman strength and just like that's what that dump is about.
Right.
The body suddenly becomes exactly what it needs to become for that moment, and then it lets go. And in a normal situation or life, it would refract and go back down to a normal baseline. But in people who are chronically stressed, it stays high to, to mid high all the time. And so it is draining. It is pushing the gas and absorbing resources all the time, which is not good for the body. And so that's why in Ayurveda, we're trying to find how do we get back to rest and digest? How do we activate the parasympathetic and bring us back? Meditation can do that. Breathing exercises can do that. But the ones that are right for you are relative to your dosha and what happened to you, right?
Hmm.
Like somebody who's had a traumatic experience, you can't expect them to meditate immediately. Like it's probably not gonna happen, right? Their body
No.
is ready to fight. And
Yeah, there has to be a space between like the refractory period, like it has to.
thank you, Bridge. But also, so like a breathing exercise is probably one of the better ways to do it, where somebody can take their adrenaline rushed body and focus on breathing, and that's a good way to help bring them down, right? And so as a practitioner,
Absolutely.
we're looking for the pathway for that person based on what happened to them and what's going on in their life and their dosha.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've worked with a lot of clients. I don't know about you, but I've worked with a lot of clients with adrenal fatigue. It was like a trend for a minute. A lot of people had adrenal fatigue. And I feel like sometimes it's like it's a weird quote unquote diagnosis. It's like a lot of doctors don't diagnose adrenal fatigue, or they might say, oh, it's adrenal fatigue because they don't know what else it is. When
Right.
somebody comes to them with a lot of,
Absolutely.
right. And so it's an interesting one, but I've had a lot, and they present differently. They all present
Mhm.
differently, and
Because
just yeah,
it's gonna bounce against your dosha,
hmm,
right?
exactly.
So an adrenal, somebody with high adrenal output, that's vata is going to be like space case bouncing around like the Tasmanian devil. A
Hmm.
pitta, it may show up as working harder and harder and harder and harder until they break. And a kapha, they may turn into a couch potato.
Hmm. I've had all of those, multiples of all of those in my practice. Yeah. Um, Yeah, and it's so easy to tell like immediately when they come in. Like I'll see it because usually people fill out a form before they talk to me. So I look at their form and they're okay, adrenal fatigue. And then if they're just like talking, and like it takes them like 30 minutes to just say things.
Right.
Um, then I'm like, Vata has gotten you, hasn't it? Vata is probably behind the adrenal fatigue. And then if they're like super like rigid and they're like very like I run all of these businesses and I wake up at this time and I'm like really good at I meditate so hard. Like I do all of the
I know.
things. I'm doing everything and it's like you're doing too much, less is more, right? So this is going to be like a pitta and then the kaphas come in. They're like I have no motivation. It took me like I've been following you for years and it took me 12 years to even come to be here.
Right.
Right?
It's
Like
crazy. The
it,
doshas, man, they're tried and true, and everybody's a mix of them too, right? So some
mhm.
people may present with some, mixes of those three, but those are like the prominent manifestations of them. It's just
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, the what you give to that person just really depends on what's really driving that fatigue. And there's also, I've just noticed that there's just like also a lot of belief systems behind adrenal fatigue that
Mhm.
keeps somebody in that chronic state of stress after after that initial period of
Yeah.
massive stress, right?
Yeah.
Um,
It's warranted to say, just like you can practice lifting weights to get stronger, you can practice pumping your adrenals empty
mhm.
into your system. It's a practiced habit in many cases.
Yeah. Yeah. So like usually like I'll go through some and we'll change up their food and everything just to be more sattvic, more harmonizing for the mind, calming for the mind.
Yeah.
Strengthening digestion and everything because it's just been absolutely blown to pieces at that point because it's been so weakened. Um, and then like we get deeper into the belief systems because if somebody's going to truly heal then they have to stop the narrative that's within their head saying that they should be doing this, I should be doing that, and then creating so much stress in their life because of that. um so yeah.
Yeah. Our system was designed to help us react in acute, crazy, intense situations, not necessarily chronic fatigue or chronic worry. And that's
Yeah.
where it starts to break down over time because the system was designed to save us in moments of intense challenge. Um, but we have kind of hijacked it and we low level pump adrenaline all day long, every day.
Yeah, I found a lot of beauty lately in surrender. Like just really just I do my best. I put things out there. I'm just letting it go. Like right
Right?
now, like my husband, he's like about to lose his job because he's a contract worker. And so that's a big part of income for us. And for some reason, not for some reason, it's just like belief. But right, like it's not for some reason. Like I have no idea why.
Your story
Like,
around the story.
yeah, I just feel like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like something will come through. Um, and yeah, like we don't have childcare in the United States that's paid for, and we also don't have it. Um, our family personally doesn't have it here where we live. Our family lives in a different state, so it's hard to like find the time to do a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
to work, and then it's just with our with my constitution, it's like easy to get like really stressed and overwhelmed. I have a
Spun out.
Vata
Yeah.
Pitta, yeah, I have a Vata Pitta constitution, stressed and overwhelmed and like fatigued because of those things. And so
But
I found,
so
yeah,
listeners, it's because the pitta burns through all the
hmm
resources. The vata blows
hmm
it around, but the pitta consumes it.
yeah. Like I'm a super I've always been a really, really hard worker, like self dedication to the max, probably like too much. And so I'll always just be like, it's been my pattern for me to just like always be working, doing something at every single second that I have. I should be working. And then I like self care seems like something that's a waste of time, because it's not making me money or it's not furthering my career, or it's
Efficient.
not right. So it's like, yeah, like that narrative needs to be switched, but I think above all else, it's the surrender of like, you know what, it's gonna be okay. If I don't have the energy right now, it's okay. I don't have the energy. And if something doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right, and I'm not gonna force it. The
Mhm.
forcing is a very Vata Pitta thing, or Pitta in general. Just
Pitta in general.
thing to do. Force, like push, grind, gotta get serious, can't play around anymore. Well, no,
I
I want to play.
researched all the things that could happen and I am ready. Ready.
Pittas come in and they're like, I've done everything. You name it. I've gone to every doctor. I've done like every little thing. I've taken every supplement. I've tried every diet. And they're
And
sitting
I'm
in the
like,
back.
so why are
They're
you
sitting like this.
here?
Right. They're
So why
sitting
are
like
you here?
this. And then they have this like this narrative in their head that says like nothing can heal me. Nothing. I try
And
your
guess
best.
what?
You won't make
They're
it.
right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That belief system will shut down any potential healing that could happen if they're coming in with that attitude. There's just no way.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
it's true.
I'm resonating with what you're saying though, but like I'm still predominantly kapha, but I'm
Hmm.
more mentally and adaptively pitta. And so my pitta mind sometimes in the past has been like, you can do more, come on. And then the body's like, bro, we don't move that fast. Like we can, but we don't want to. And so I have this conflict where the body's like, rest, chill, let's be copacetic, man. And the mind's
Hmm.
like, no, we can do it. And the body's like, okay, well, we'll go until we're done and then we'll sit down. And that's basically how my life has gone, where I'm like, run. Oh, I'm tired.
So you have so
Run.
this like internal conflict. That's so interesting. I can totally see that as a with your constitution.
Mm. But the thing
Yeah.
about being a kapha and having that pitta aspect to self is that I can go longer than most, but when I drain completely, and then the body will recharge, but it's like, it either gets sick or it's like, we're gonna lay in bed today. And now you're gonna feel worse because you've been laying in bed all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's get to questions
Sure.
so we
Let's
can
do it.
work on the time. But so just a reminder, the question was based around inflammation. Inflammation is going to be a byproduct of chronic adrenal and cortisol dumps in the body, period. So it
Stress.
relates.
Yeah. Um, honestly, I didn't get a lot of I got some, but I didn't get a lot because I think I like I told Nick before, I think I phrased the question the weird on my Instagram, but it's fine. We're gonna get into it.
That's a Vata quality.
I was just like, yeah, that's like a vata. You're like explaining things. It's like takes you a mile long sentence to say one thing, and you're like, so inflammation, right? Okay, cool.
Okay, okay. We're talking about inflammation.
So just one thing. Okay, so yeah. Um, this person. All right, so I have Caro TYM. I don't know. I can't see their name, but it says, "What are the first steps to calm inflammation, please?"
Ooh, cooling.
Yeah.
So in Ayurveda, there's different things that cool. You could have cooling foods, which would be highly recommended. There's cooling breaths, which would also be recommended. If anybody out there, it's called Shitali and Shitari. Those are cooling breaths, and one cools the peripheral body, like your limbs and face, and then the other one cools the inner digestive system. So Shitali is inner digestive system. Shitari is the outer periphery. And then cooling your thoughts. Now that one's a little bit more challenging, right? That takes practice and that takes reframing. Like you find words and thoughts that have hot qualities, intense pitta qualities, and you try to find the cooler aspect of that and start to downgrade or, you know, uh, um, bring it down a little bit, cool the temperature a little bit on what you're thinking about. So that's my top of mind thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. I think you do have to start just like small. Typically people who come forward with inflammation, and I in a in the way that people think of inflammation now, I feel like there's different types of inflammation. From an Ayurvedic perspective, inflammation is going to be more pitta. The way that people see inflammation as of right now, because I've just noticed this pattern within my clients. They come to me with inflammation and it's like, oh, you're kapha, right? Like puffy, weight gain, bloated. Yeah, it's
Retention.
like, right, water retention. Those are different things. So then that would go with that person might benefit from something warming, right? Or something that's going to increase their digestion as opposed to just like slow it down a little bit more, right? So this,
Right. I mean, it's a
yeah,
fantastic point because the treatment for one would aggravate the other.
right, right. If from an Ayurvedic perspective, inflammation, just that word is going to show like just the word itself. Like, what does it sound like? Does it sound like hot or cold? It's hot. You're
Uh,
inflamed.
I know the answer. I know the answer.
You're
Pick me, pick me.
inflamed. There's like there's fire, right? Like that's it's literally in the word flame. So yeah, so like just generally speaking, yeah, you want to have like something that's like more cooling. I would just go with something just generally mild. Um and
Yeah,
just take
well,
one thing.
like
You
you're
know what I mean?
constantly talking about
Yeah.
sattvic. So like if you can
Yeah.
find something that is harmoniously balanced, consume that because that will pull everything else with it into more balance. Like
Exactly.
like if you're not sure what kind of inflammation you have or what you're describing as inflammation, then the best thing is to have balanced, easy to digest things so that your system can fix it for you. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like I would do a simple cleanse, like Kitchery cleanse. I have a 3-day cleanse.
Mhm.
It's essentially Kitchery cleanse, but there's
Oleation
different
is
recipes.
great for a
Right.
lot of things. Like a lot of things,
Oleation. Yep.
like our bodies, because especially in the early 2000s and 2010s and late 90s, they were like, fat is bad. You can't have fat. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, you have to have good fats. But then a lot of people still don't eat fats, one that are good for their constitution slash in ample things because they think fat is going to make them fat versus the fact that it lubricates the body and carries molecules and does lots of important functional things within the body.
Yeah. Yeah. Like something to just reset. That would be my first step. Do something to just reset. So you would do a simple food-based cleanse and just make it so like in my 3-day cleanse, I have a whole protocol that I've basically, which I hate saying that word protocol because it's kind of goes against Ayurveda, but
Chiquita,
but
just take Chiquita.
yeah, like I call it dinacharya. Basically, it's a daily guide, right? So I have
Ooh,
like
we
this
could
daily
call
guide.
it Dina Chiquitsaria.
There we go. We'll just put them all together. Jakisarya per call. We'll put them
I mean, the
all the
beautiful
words
thing
together
about
and then
Sanskrit is you can just copy or cut and paste. Like that's how Sanskrit
yeah.
works. So,
But like, yeah, like this daily guide, it gives you a good morning routine to have and
mhm.
consistent meals and, and then like something at
I mean, and
nighttime.
that's always gonna like
Yeah.
consistency builds structure to maintain parasympathetic activation.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So, um, all of these things matter. Everything in that matters. It's not just you eat Kitchery and you're like, oh, I feel reset. It's like, no, you have to sort of like do a little bit more, but it's not that much more. It's just very
Hmm.
simple
Yeah.
things, putting it all
And
together.
when we say it's the long game, it's true. It's a lifestyle, not a fad. It's not a diet. I hate phrasing it in such a buzz phrase type situation, but it truly is. It's like we are trying to build sustainable, functional habits that facilitate this, not a one-time quick fix. Although if you're like really, really bad off, like really, really, really bad off, it may be suggested to do panchakarma
Mhm.
and then initiate these types of things. So
Yeah,
again, going to a practitioner and figuring out what do you need more of. Now, um, panchakarma is like a purgation of excess dosha and all excess dosha so that the system can kind of trip and start functioning from its baseline again. But it can be an upwards of a 5 to 10, sometimes 14-day process, depending on the severity and what's needed to be done. So, Panchakarma
right.
is amazing, but it isn't the full fix. It is part of the fix.
Right, exactly. And then some people have to warm up the panchakarma too, just because if you go from like eating hamburgers and French fries, and then you go into
Oh my
panchakarma.
God, right?
Holy crap! Like you have to like warm up a little bit, right, to it, and then there's a whole aftercare that's really important to just help because if you cleanse, panchakarma is a very heavy clinical based cleanse, and so you have to you just it's going to be harsher than a at home food based cleanse,
Well,
which is
right.
not always better. Stronger is
Right.
not always better.
Exactly. One of them is Vamana, which is
Hmm.
amazing, but Vamana is, therapeutic vomiting.
Yeah,
So,
so just keep that
so
in mind.
it, yeah, exactly. Which it's not like the same vomiting as you would have if you were sick, but just fair warning. Fair
Yeah.
warning, friends.
All right, we'll go to the next one.
One of the old treatments too is bloodletting.
I was gonna say with the leeches, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole
So
to cleanse the
the
blood
blood,
tissue, right?
rakta.
All right, let's see. So what this is from Vosperket. So let's see. What are your thoughts on drinking celery juice in the morning?
Well, it would first depend on what your constitution is, because that would influence my thoughts. Also, it would depend on what your vikruti is, right? Your imbalances as it relates to doshas.
Hmm.
Because celery juice can be astringent, and that could be bad for vatas, but could be really good for kaphas. So, you know, it would really depend on the person. In low amounts, daily probably isn't a huge problem, but I don't know that it's doing more that much for you in the long run. Like I could say it's not hurting you that bad, but I don't know that it's helping you either.
Right. It depends on the person. It really does. This for this one. I've had that's a you've heard of medical medium. That's a
Yeah.
very medical medium. People who have done medical medium have come to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've been following medical medium. Kind of helps and not really. Sometimes it does. I don't know." And then they're like, "I've been doing the celery juice. They love celery juice. I've never like read medical medium or followed it, so I don't know. I just know what I know from my clients. But yeah, that's one of the things that they do is celery juice in the morning to reduce inflammation, to, whatever they say that it's supposed to do. Sure, celery is very anti-inflammatory and cooling. It's actually a very sattvic food. Sattvic meaning like harmonizing for both mind and body, very calming to the mind. I love celery. I like cooking with it. It is very cleansing. And something that is cleansing every day is not to be used, number one, long term,
Right.
and is not for everybody. So it would just be for a short period of time. If you are going to do something like that, I would probably do something like that when it's really hot outside, like the like summertime, maybe
Yeah.
even right now, springtime,
Hmm.
because the
A
spring is you
pitta
want
would
to
do really
cleanse.
well for, yeah,
Yep.
if it was this time of year, it would be really good for pitta and kapha.
Yes, exactly. Like it might be nice now, but I would really just do it for a short period of time. I always like to say max 6 weeks with anything that's going to be
Mhm.
cleansing
And
like
by
that.
that point, your body has adapted to it with all of your enzymes. So in many cases, after 3 to 4 weeks, the body has basically made whatever you're consuming negligible because it is anticipating it. It's an interesting function of the body because it's homeostasis.
Right. And it's like if somebody came to me and they were feeling really depleted, super vata, really depleted, just like bloated all of the time, they just feel like worn out, brain fog. I wouldn't give them celery juice. They
No, that would
they
be awful.
No, because that reduces. So we have this thing called the post-digestive effect. Basically, after a food is digested, what does it do to the body? Is it something that builds the body? Is it something that reduces the body? Is it something that's metabolic to the body? It's those three. And so,
Metabolic. So like metabolic means heat is what she's talking about.
right, heat and just like secreting metabolic juices.
Yeah.
Um, and celery juice is reducing to the body. So if you have somebody who's feeling like super depleted and exhausted and bloated, and they have like a lot of air and dry, and they have a lot of air to them, and they just like their bones are withering away, and they're like, oh, it's anti-inflammatory, so I'll do the celery juice in the morning. And no, because it's going to
Right?
make you
Like,
more depleted.
like looking at Vata people and then they talk about inflammation. I'm looking at them and I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, you need rejuvenation. That's what you
Yeah,
need. You don't need anti anything. You need to build, right? Like,
I know.
you
And
need,
it's so funny. Like, again, Bridge and I can joke about this because there's so many societal norms and the way they phrase stuff, especially for selling products. Like, most of
Mhm.
y'all care about inflammation because somebody told you you should be so that they could sell you their product, in
Yeah.
many cases.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, it's good for him because I mean, they've probably noticed what I've noticed. Anytime I put something about inflammation on my feed, it's like people are like, "What is that? Oh my God, I think I have inflammation." So I just feel like there's people who are going to prey on those types of things. I like to help people and help them dissect what is inflammation to them
And understand it
and
because then you
understand
can
it.
make choices for yourself.
Right. Exactly. So then, and you can realize that your inflammation is going to be different than somebody else's inflammation. And then
Mhm.
that's just the way that it goes. So it's going to require different things. It might not require celery juice in the morning. It might not require, like strong supplements and like parasite cleanses and all of that stuff. It's going to
I
require
know.
different things.
Do you remember the in the last probably 5 to 10 years, them talking about leaky gut? And I'm like,
Yeah. Leaky gut was another buzzword. Everybody had leaky gut, apparently.
they're like, and I could tell from your blood panel, and I'm like, unless you're testing the permeability of the gut, how could you possibly know? They're like, well, you have
Right.
high levels of this in your blood, and I'm like, that doesn't mean that it's coming through the gut wall.
Right. And Ayurveda, we just say you have weak digestion. We just need to strengthen it.
Yes, right.
Like
And
that's it.
it's likely that that person doesn't have leaky gut. They have AMA buildup. That's
Same
likely
ama.
what it is.
And ama, remember you guys, is toxins.
Metabolic,
Um,
toxic metabolic waste that will always live in there. I finally realized Dr. Lod said things so embellished and so phonetically so that we would remember because I say it and I'm like, oh, it's so easy to remember. Toxic metabolic waste.
yeah.
And then they presented it as if Amma against Agni and the Sunday night drag out fight.
And there's like a monster truck in the background. There's like
Right.
sparklers. There's like huge like fireworks going off. There's an American flag
I can
waving
tell you
too.
who's always going to win. Agni is always going to win. Even weak Agni is going to beat Amma eventually.
Yeah. We need to make that a little animation
Yeah,
AI.
we do.
I'll do it. I'll figure it out.
We could
I'll do
use
it.
we could use
I'll do it.
AI to do it.
Yeah. Using AI to figure out to show Ama. Oh my God, I hope you guys are laughing.
Amma really is a bad thing. Like Amma over time is what kills a lot of people.
It is. It is. It's everything that you guys are saying, and with whatever you have going on, it's Ama. Like
Like really it
just
is.
to cut it short and blank. And how do you get rid of Ama, those toxins? You have to strengthen digestion, you balance your doshas, right? You just live very simply and have good diet and lifestyle. Of course, you can still eat your burgers and cheese, but maybe not every day. Okay. Um,
And maybe
just
not nearly as frequently as you do.
and
And again, though,
exactly.
like alcohol is not necessarily a bad thing, but it does have effects on the body that if you don't know what they are, you can't help alleviate it before, during, and or after your consumption of it. And that's what Ayurveda says. Yeah, you can drink, but you need to do A, B, C, D.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, let's go to another one. I have two more. Hopefully we can get to both. We'll see. All right, so next one is thoughts on home versus hospital births.
Oh, I am a gay man and I have no thoughts on it outside of the mom can do what she wants, but I do know that even if you do an at-home birth, there is always a contingency plan for emergency medical services if needed. That's what I
I
know.
love I am a gay man. That's very funny. All right, so basically you're like, yeah, I have no experience. Um,
I've heard about my sister going to the hospital. That's about it.
I'll
And
tell
I
you
heard
my
about and
thoughts.
I heard about your birth. So,
Right. Um, yeah, I think it's really up to you and where you're at in your life. Like I had a hospital birth and I would have loved to have a home birth. I was terrified out of my mind of the whole birthing process. And I think that has to do with like not really my upbringing, but just things that I believed. I don't know, things that you see on the TV, things that you just like, my mom always was like, it's fine, it's not a big deal. Birth is easy, is whatever. And so like, yeah, she instilled that in me, but I still see other things and other
right.
testimonies from other people. And I was just so scared of giving birth. And so I wanted to do the all natural thing. I wanted to do no epidural. And my whole pregnancy was all natural and there was nothing, I didn't do anything like that.
Like
But
an
when it came to
Ayurveda
the,
practitioner would.
right. And like the whole, yeah, and I had herbs and all of that stuff. I had a lot of shatavari ghee. I would like oil myself every day with the shatavari ghee, the perineal massage. I did all that good stuff. But when it came to the birth, I was scared
Which is a
shitless.
traumatic event in and of itself.
Yeah. And like I think that that's a lot of programming in my own head. From that, I think like that it shouldn't be something that we're scared of. Our body is designed to do amazing things, but it just is what it is. Okay. And I worked through it. I worked with an energy healer. I worked with like I did hypnobirthing. Here I am with my pitta. I did everything.
There you go. See, Exhibit A. You come by it honest with us, listeners. We will talk to you from direct experience about what we do because
Exactly.
we're just people too.
We're just people too. So, but I knew that I would feel more comfortable if I was in a hospital and if I wanted medical intervention or if I needed it was just right there. And
Right.
so that's just what made me feel comfortable. And so I think you just have to do something that just makes you feel comfortable. And we just
You
have to
should be at ease when you're giving at birth.
you
Period.
should
Like,
be at ease. Exactly. That is the biggest point. It's like you should feel at ease and the because that goes to the baby too. It should just be simple and easy and you can have your birth plan ready to go and I did. And I did have an epidural. You know what? I got to 7 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and I was like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Give me an epidural.
right.
And then I
Because
had to
nobody,
wait for it
especially
too.
if it's your first time, nobody's going to tell you or be able to explain to you what a contraction feels like.
You don't know. You don't know, right? Like you have no idea what to expect, especially if it's your first time. So I think you have to do something that makes you feel at ease. And that whole energy is just around your birth. So if that's being in a hospital, just being there, then that's cool. If it's doing a home birth, then that's cool. And I think we have to remove all of the judgment from
Mhm.
online. Do you know how much judgment is out there on moms? You're not breastfeeding. You're not holistic enough because you're not co-sleeping. You didn't have a home birth. You didn't have a tub birth, right? Like you had an epidural. Like it's like I don't come out and say these things. Like I'm just talking about this birthing process right now, but I just see that online all of the time. All of the time, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a horrible mother. You're not this or you're not that. It's
Well,
like
I mean, that
we
happens
judge
for
ourselves,
every topic. It's crazy.
dude, but like moms, like we go through enough, man. Like it's a
Yeah.
day to day thing. There is no taking a day off as a mom. Like
Nope.
you are going through ups and downs every single day. It can be really stressful, especially when you're a new mom and you're like in this space of like I'm just trying to figure it out or you're
You're
pregnant
trying
and
to
you're just
survive.
vulnerable. And you're vulnerable to this type of stuff and it's like just calm down
Well,
everybody and just do
well,
something that makes you feel
I mean,
comfortable.
we've done episodes. So yeah, I don't know how to link episodes, but my friends, like, you can go back to old
Yeah.
episodes where before Bridge gave birth and then after Bridge gave birth, and we talked about it. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about the real life thing, and there's been an evolution. Her as a Vata Pitta, how long it took her to get back to a more parasympathetic state from the Vata time period that happens after birth.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe with the next one I'll try something different, but I'll just have to see where I'm at. And that's just me and my
Mhm,
body and my journey. And like
mhm,
if it, you know,
mhm.
it's
And
whatever
for me
makes you
as a
feel comfortable.
exactly. And for me as a practitioner, I'm going to go with supporting my client with whatever they believe in most. If they believe in
Right.
at-home birth, then we're going to talk about how
Yeah.
that happens and how that works. And if they want to do hospital birth, then we're going to talk about what goes into that. I'm here to support, but my biggest concern is whether somebody believes in it or not. If they don't believe in it, I'm like, let's not even go there.
Right. Right. So again, it just kind of it comes down to your comfort if that because that belief part plays a role in it. So,
Right? Like I won't
but yeah.
coach anybody on keto if they don't believe in keto. Like if they believe in it, I'm like, I got you 100%. If you don't believe in it, I'm like, we're gonna pick something that you believe in because otherwise it's just moot and a waste of time, at least in my
Right.
experience.
Right. Yeah, 100%. So, long story short, just stop judging other moms. Okay?
Stop judging
Period.
yourself most of all, but also other moms.
Period. Exactly. Especially on the internet. Like you don't know everybody's life story. Like
We don't
calm
know what
down.
happened.
Calm.
Like,
Yeah, like you just check yourself. Check yourself before you're just like typing things in and putting that out there to somebody else. Like
girl, I'm
we
I'm in a rat, so I've been raising pet rats and breeding them and stuff. Surprise. They're awesome pets, by the way. But I'm in these rat groups, and the way they like crucify people, like sometimes I'll see a picture pop up, and I'm like, oh, that comment section's going to be lit because everybody's got an opinion, and they're like, you don't know how to raise animals. And I'm like, honey, I'm pretty sure if I examined your life from top to bottom, I would tell you all the things that you don't know how to do. So you can step off first.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So remember that, everybody. Remember that next time, you're like typing something, which I don't think people on here do. I don't think people who listen to us are like in the comment
Yeah,
section being like bitter and angry. And if they are, go drink some grape juice with some cardamom in it so you
yeah.
can cool down. Like calm your anger a little bit.
Lay off the adrenaline, okay?
Maybe you need some celery juice, honestly. Maybe you do need some
I
celery
was thinking
juice.
the same
Full
thing.
full circle. You might need it. Yeah.
Spoonful of celery juice
I'm
makes
just like
the anger
dousing
go
them.
down.
Like wheatgrass. Oh my god.
And for
Coconut
everything else,
water.
and for everything else, there's sage. Just saying.
Coconut water, pomegranate juice. Oh my god. Fruits. Just like throwing fruits at them so they can cool down.
Cooling, cooling, cooling,
Cooling,
cooling.
cooling, cooling, cool.
All
Cilantro.
right.
Cilantro. Last one.
Yeah. Last one.
Um, all right, we'll keep. Okay, this is a good one. Pitta skin issues, but vata in every other way. How do I eat?
Ooh. Well, my very, very first question, this is not any shade to that person. Are you working with a practitioner? Because if you're not, I would like to verify that statement first because treatment protocols, chikitas would very much vary whether you are Vata constitution, but having a Pitta skin issue because you would have to be very clever about how you apply things. But on a very general, like super basic, I don't know much about you, sattvic foods,
Hmm.
dinacharya, and then topical application of cooling things like maybe a castor oil that really gets deep in there and helps pull stuff out, but also heavily moisturizes. But you can't use it a lot. You can only use it like once a week or maybe even less. And or, subsequent use of coconut oil, unscented, so refined, as a topical to help smooth out the roughness that you may be feeling. Because if a skin issue is pitta, it's going to be pretty crackly and painful, hot, and needs to be cooled down. Those are my thoughts.
I feel like I would go more towards the vata in this person because the vata is going to fan the flames and it's going to push pitta. It's going to push it out towards the lymphatic tissue and then the blood
Hmm.
tissue and the muscle tissue, which is going to cause an eruption of skin issues. But I wouldn't go like heating at all. I would go cooling. So I would veer more towards like cooling, calming, grounding demulcents,
Hydrating.
hydrating, right? Like something that is moisturizing, that's grounding, because both vata pittas are they're very light because both fire and air is very light and they have a tendency to tailspin.
Yeah, light
Um,
versus heavy. So in Ayurveda, when we talk about light, we are talking about bright, but we are also talking about something being less dense or more dense.
Yeah. Like they would everything that we're throwing like holy water on that person who is so bitter in the comment section. They would probably benefit from those things as well. Like something
Yeah.
hydrating and cooling, like some like good juicy fruits would be awesome. Some like coconut milk would be really good.
Hmm.
Basmati rice would be good. This
Yeah.
is my diet essentially because I'm Vata Pitta. I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and so for
yeah.
the record, friends, if it is confirmed that the person is Vata and having Pitta skin issues after confirmed by a practitioner, I would say exactly what Bridge said. My
Hmm.
recommendations were based solely on the fact that I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'm just assuming that they know their dosha from a practitioner or something because
Yeah,
they said
so
it.
both of our answers are correct, but if you
Yeah.
don't know 100% that you're Vata with Pitta skin issues, I would go for the very general, easy, cooling things. And then, if you're for certain that is, and you're working with a practitioner, or at least know for yourself for certain, then you do everything Bridge said.
Yeah. I would also just veer more towards substances that have an affinity for the skin, like that have all of those qualities that I just said: cooling, calming, demulcent,
Coconut oil.
coconut oil, right? Coconut in general.
Yeah.
Aloe has that as well.
Yes. Aloe
Yeah.
is also really good because it's slimy and it can
Hmm.
help hydrate and like really deep hydration.
Yeah. Like I usually tell people like this if they're in my practice, right? So I usually tell people like this to have like 2 ounces of aloe juice in the morning with 2 ounces of warm water, mix that together, and then drink it on an empty stomach. And that really helps to like clear their skin
And we're not
and it's
talking
grounding.
about like Herbalife aloe juice. We're
No,
talking like
yeah.
we're talking
Oh my
like
God.
out the plant. I know.
Right.
No offense, Herbalife people, but it's not the same.
Right.
It's not the
Yeah.
same.
You can make your own, or you can get like some from the store, 100, just
Oh, and
100% aloe
always,
juice.
some of you know how to work with aloe. You have to peel the skin. The skin
Hmm.
has to go.
It does, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you're just doing the inner fillet. The skin is different. The skin is going to be like is going to be a purgative, which is going to
Yes.
be more than a laxative. We're talking about like clearing you out. That's not what we're here for. Okay, we're here for the inner fillet. Um, yeah, you don't need that. So yeah, I would do something like that, but just food wise, just cooling, moisturizing, a grounding, like nice root vegetables would be really good too for this person, and just like moisten them up a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, again, it all goes back to first and foremost, we will always recommend confirming with a professional. And there are varying degrees of quality of practitioners out there. Some are more Western oriented and symptom treatment. Bridge and I are very Eastern oriented and are very
Hmm.
systemic oriented. Like we
Right.
want to make sure that the system is functioning well so that we know what your true set point is so that we can get you back to it. We don't want to just keep adding things, right? Like, because you start to see in the Western world people with pill, 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 and each one is to fix the side effect of the last one, on and on and on and on and on, which is not good. But the same thing can happen with Ayurveda if you're not careful.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, we don't want to go into Ayurveda with that mechanistic kind of view and treating the symptoms. Yeah, the whole body is what we're here for. The whole thing.
Because the
Yeah.
body knows what to do when it's in balance, when it's in
Yes.
harmony, right?
Yes. Yes, it does. Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, this was a lot longer than anticipated. So thanks for listening and being my therapist and my therapeutic, cathartic release of my traumatic experience yesterday. But also, I think we had some really good talks about the different inflammation things that we can work with because it's very practical, right? The very first thing to always question is what do they mean when they say inflammation or whatever buzzword? And am I just looking for something as a scapegoat, or do I really think that I have that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, friends, this is Ayurveda Digested, and we broke it down. I'm Nicholas.
And Bridge. Bye.